Master Mage, Season 1, Episode 9. In the previous video, we had seen a haunted house next to Master Jackie's door. Master Jackie had put a small altar and prayed for someone at a wall corner between their house. But out of the blue, a widow and her daughter moved in. Master Jackie had worried for them, so he had come by and wanted to convince them to leave the house as soon as possible. However, no matter how hard Jackie had tried, the mother didn't believe him since she was supposed our great master was a fraud. On their first night moving into the house, the two had to think twice about Jackie. Alright, let's continue our story. The mother was scared to death and rolled up her eyes. She wanted to escape from there, but she could not move her legs. Regarding the evil spirit, right when she saw the mother and Yan, she showed her sharp nails and plunged to them. She plugged her nail into the mother's body. Then she turned into a cloud of red smoke and flew inside Yan's mother. The mother screamed out painfully, her eyes turned demonic red shortly, and she knelt down. Witnessing what happened, Yan got scared to death. Taking a few moments to pull herself together, Yan came to the mother in a panic and backed the mother up. She hurriedly asked her dear mother if she was okay afterward. After being obsessed, the mother had changed to another person. While her daughter bombarded her with worried voices, she burst to laugh demonically, then she slowly turned back to the daughter. Hearing the scary mother was laughing, the girl got terrified. In front of her, at the moment, the mother rotated only her head back. Her body was staying still and speaking up with a hoarse voice. Yan jumped out of her skin. The demon was saying that she was not Yan's mother. The demon had been obsessed with the mother's body and controlled her completely. Her face changed as well demonically, her eyes turned red as blood, she opened her mouth widely, showed up her sharp canines. The demon quickly tended to grab Yan. Our young girl was just a weak girl. She was unable even to resist a mortal. As a human being instinct, she covered her face with her hands and closed her eyes out. She was preparing to end her life, but a few moments later, she didn't feel hurt anywhere. Yan curiously opened her eyes to check out. In front of her, a long-haired boy stood there, shielded her from the demon. That was her neighbor, Fang, who she just met in the morning. Fortunately, Fang had shown up in the nick of time, or else her life must have been taken away already. Fang was holding his wooden sword and pointed towards the demon. Then he put the sword at her teeth and shouted out, "Thunder!" He had put the sword to stop the demon's attacks and made her surprised. Then, Fang had decided to call the great power of thunder to push the demon away. Fang smirked at the demon delightedly. He introduced himself as a great exorcist who was very professional in demon acquiring. Fang was preparing for his next attack and take down the demon. But Yan ran towards him and told his hands with a miserable look in the eyes. She explained that the demon had possessed her mother and begged Fang not to hurt her mother's body. Seeing Yan in such that worry, he got softened. Tightening the sword in hand, he comforted Yan that she should not worry that much. He knew how to expel the demon inside her mother's body. Fang turned his head seriously back to the demon who was just pushed strongly to the ground but quickly stood up, smiled at Fang with a mysterious smile terribly, and slowly came towards Fang. It turned out the demon had laughed about what Fang had boasted earlier. She revealed that even his master was unable to touch her an inch in a 1-1 battle. With his little cultivation, how he could say such a big thing to defeat her. Every word she said to Fang showed that she didn't think Fang could pair up to her. She pointed toward a big vase at the corner, weirdly. The demon didn't come close and touch the vase, but the vase was shaking and started moving. Just a few seconds, the vase was levitating into the air. The demon yelled out that she would make the little Fang regret it for his big mouth earlier in no time. The demon pointed her finger towards Fang. The vase flew like a flash towards Fang. He quickly jumped aside to dodge the attack and also yelled at Yan to be careful. He pushed Yan behind him. Eventually, the vase flew by with a dark aura wind by their faces. The vase hit the wall later on strongly. A broken sound echoed around the place. Right then, the wall got scratched as well, created a big hole in the wall. That was really a strong hit. If Fang or Yan got hit, they had lost their lives or fell into a coma already. The demon repeatedly attacked Fang. She used both of her hands to control all of the wooden sticks and concrete around the place. Those were highly injury-causing and easily taking one's life. That was really a tough fight to Fang. Obviously, Fang had to stay focused, but Yan, at that moment, was standing behind him and distracting him. He told her to find a place to hide. The demon smirked at Fang, levitated the rocks and bricks around the yard, and flew towards Fang. To be honest, our young man always had his master in every situation. He had not much experience in a 1-1 fight. However, in front of that strong opponent, he didn't have thought of giving up. Fang was very persistent and didn't want to hide. He stood up straight and well prepared to face up the demon. Fang had followed Master Jackie in years already, year by year. He had cultivated and trained his kung fu under his master's supervision. Even though he had a little lazy, but he well remembered every single move his master had taught him. A moment later, he had broken all of those levitated stuff towards him by the demon. Even Fang was unable to imagine how well he managed in that situation. He didn't easily satisfy with that. He spoke up to provoke the demon, who was thought that Fang was a fresher and had no talent earlier. What else she could do? Just show all up. The demon was surprised by the fact that Fang could easily dodge all of her attacks. She got angrier, and red was visible over her face once hearing Fang's provocation. She got more serious, seen by 2 red flows in the between of her hands. She was about to make a big fire to burn Fang out. Fang felt that everything around him was moving and shaking, and the house was likely to be collapsed if he just gave it a small touch at the moment. By the red flow in her hand, the demon gathered all the tiles in the roof flying up next to her. Those tiles had been controlled to fly to and established a matrix in front of Fang. Shortly a tornado of tiles emerged. The demon gave Fang and smirk, then levitated the tornado of tiles spun around and around strongly. Out of a sudden, they attacked Fang as an arrow. Fang sensed that the demon was getting serious on her attacks. Her dark aura doubled compared to earlier. He pulled himself together and tried to stay focused. He quickly put back his sword, started his incantation pose, put 2 fingers up in front of his face, and mumbled the chant. He was supposed to use the magic shield technique to face the demon. That was a tough technique which Fang had failed every time to start during training. That day, he had a strong belief he would succeed in using it. He opened his legs widely and plunged down to prepare, then spun his sword around. With the strong belief, he could open the shield successfully and had more confidence as well as the courage to take down the demon. After making the shield, Fang covered his body with the shield without a second thought so that those flying tiles could not touch him. The shield also helped him create a strong magnetic field and pushed the demon away with her guard off. Taking the precious chance, Fang quickly drew a thunderous sign to the air and used his all power to push his flow towards the demon. The demon got attacks by the thunder in the forehead. She fell in a panic shortly. Under the strong attack of thunder, the demon got expelled from Yan's mother's body and let her body as a corpse fell into the ground. Yan shortly ran towards her mother, took her inside the house, and asked her out repeatedly. The mother had to take some moments to pull herself together. She had persisted earlier about the house's normality, and Jackie was a fraud. At the moment, fears were visible on her face. Her mouth got shaken. Eventually, she yelled aloud that there was a ghost. She pulled Yan and hid together behind Fang after witnessing what the young man was capable of. She begged Fang to acquire the demon with her dearest tone of voice. Fang looked at the mother, and Yan with a forced smile. The 2 kung fu techniques he just showed them were the strongest ones he had learned from his master. He knew him better than anyone. That was his limitation already. He could not defeat the demon. The only one who could defeat the demon currently was Master Jackie, but earlier, the mother had shown no respect for the old man. She even spitted out the strongest curses and upset him already. Fang spoke up to them the reality then. The mother understood the situation instantly. She came to the wall and knelt down. She begged the master loudly that please help her out to acquire the demon and forgive for what she had done earlier. She knew she had been so meant, not know how talented he was in the field. She had shown a sincere apology to the great master. Seeing the pathetic mother, the demon sneered at her, then flew closer to the mother. She asked why the mother had to beg for the master. They were all about to die sooner or later. Everyone got in a panic. They were all very confused. Later on, they had heard a resonated voice from the other side of the wall, suddenly asking the demon how long she wanted to hurt the innocent people. They all turned upwards to the wall and saw a bunch of talismans flew out. Master Jackie had appeared after then. He jumped up high, showed off his agility while he was holding his wooden sword tightly in his hands. He had a very majestic pose. To be honest, that was the very first time Fang had seen his master appearing in his exorcist clothes, which were very attractive to him. Deep down, he thought that his master was such a handsome gentleman. Master Jackie put his foot into the ground lightly from the up high. He yelled out angrily at the demon, assured that he would acquire the demon shortly since the demon had already caused a lot of innocent people's deaths. The demon was busy avoiding the talisman's rain, flying to her. Unfortunately, the talismans touched her body and burned her out. She was way too painful. Seeing the Master Jackie came out, the mother plunged instantly towards him without hesitation, showed the panic in her pale face. She begged the master once again to help her to acquire the demon. Master Jackie seriously replied to the poor mother, getting rid of the demon was his responsibility. That was not easy, and they had to trade off. She didn't have to beg him for that. He was way keeping his anger against the demon in years already. It was the proper time to end up everything. Hearing the word trade off from the master, the mother got confused, but she replied that she would follow any requests and accepted the consequences might come to get back her family's normal life. She nodded to accept what the master would require later on while the old man walked towards the demon. Master Jackie knew that there was a woman spirit next door and just a wall away from him from the beginning. He also learned that the woman had died with a grudge and resulted in becoming a demon, and since then, no one has come and acquired her. Since the house had been abandoned in years, the demon didn't come out to harm anyone in the village. Master Jackie had decided to pray for her daily and hoped her unfinished wishes would be made soon so that her spirit could come to the afterlife. But she had made a wrong choice to become a demon at the moment, so the great master was unable to just stay till. Once Jackie had been allowed by the mistress of the house, he was so determined to force the demon to go to her afterlife for good. The demon didn't know that there was a great exorcist next door even though he had lived there for years. The more she thought, the more she got confused, and she ended up angry, how the master would take action on her once the widow's family came. Everything was just a result of her actions. but she didn't recognize that she was false and blamed the great master. Jackie didn't want to explain the devil further. He came closer to her with his irritated face. He retorted the demon he had given her a lot of chances to come to her afterlife on her own, but she persistently kept her outrage. Plus, she was about to hurt the innocent people in front of his noses. The demon got irritated. She showed up her sharp teeth and rushed towards Jackie, which was such an extravagant demon. With Jackie's talent and abilities, he had no reason to be afraid of that demon. He kept his cool and stood there without moving. He was well prepared and waited for a closer attack from the demon. Seeing the master frozen, Fang got worried. He even put back his wooden sword. The master just furrowed his eyebrows and stared at the demon who was about to grab him out. Right then, the master was taking off his exorcist clothes. To a mortal, that was so weird. What was the master thinking? Everyone thought he might need to put his guard up all the time in front of the demon, how he could stay put. His reaction was so weird. Master Jackie slowly picked up his exorcist's clothes shortly, swung up the sleeves, and made a cover. From the back of his clothes, there was a yin-yang sign glowing a strong yellow aura and made people dazzling. Without a hesitation, Master Jackie mumbled his spells, and spun his exorcist clothes around, made a circle, and threw towards the demon. At the first time in the 1-1 battle with the next-door exorcist, the demon was unaware of Jackie's abilities. She got the ambition to win the fight in no time, so she hurriedly plunged towards the old man. Once she touched the great master, she realized that was very dangerous for her. She had put an end to her life already. Just in a blink of an eye, the yellow clothes created a deep spinning portal that brought a strong magnetic field out. The more people looked at that, the more they got dazzled and went insane. Taking that chance, Jackie stared at the demon and didn't want her to have a chance to escape. He shouted out, "Retrieve." A glimpse of regretting once letting her came to her afterlife on her own came to his mind. The demon realized the strong aura of the master, but everything was too late. She got scared and struggled to escape from the magnetic portal. The portal had gravitated her completely inside. Afterward, Jackie rolled out his clothes into a ball and held them in his palm. After years, he had acquired the demon finally. Fang rushed towards his master and gave him compliments repeatedly. Yan and her mother had eyewitnessed the whole thing. They waited until there was no more danger outside to step out. Fang could sense that the demon was still trying to escape from his master's clothes ball. He curiously asked Jackie what to do next. He turned back to him and seemed like didn't in a good mood. He didn't reply to Fang but raised his voice to call Sam. Sam had used a ladder to climb up to the wall from the other side and held a black jar in his hands. Fang could assure that the jar was very familiar to him, but he could not recall in a short amount of time. Jackie caught the jar from Sam, then put the demon tied tightly inside his exorcist clothes into the jar. He tried to stay focused and quickly stuck a talisman to seal the jar as well. The demon was unable to escape by any chance later on. Even though Jackie was very exacerbated from what the demon had done so far, but come to think of it, the demon must have suffered a miserable life to bring that such heavy grudge. Finally, our kind-hearted master had given her another chance. He wanted to help her come to her afterlife and live another better life. Fang was very confused about how his master defeated a well-cultivated demon in a few minutes and everything just like a piece of cake for him. Earlier, once facing the other demons, he had to spend a lot of effort and time. A shiver sent to Fang's spine. Demon acquiring was really easy to his master. No matter what, the demon had been defeated already. Fang had drowned in his own thoughts. He still sensed something shady under the surfaces. why his master didn't acquire the demon in years and even kept praying for her without her acknowledgement. He even talked to Yan's mother that they had to trade off something at the beginning. Out of the blue, a broken sound brought him back to reality. Fang heard the sound, but everyone there, the house was sinking and making a loud sound. Only Jackie knew what was happening. He mumbled with a calm face, that was the condition to acquire the demon. Yan and her mother stood there speechless, watching their whole house was sinking in front of them. The only thing they could saw was a cloud of black smoke left. A few moments later, everyone realized that they had to pay, as Jackie had mentioned earlier. Even the mother had told Master that she would accept the consequences later on as long as her family was safe, but she could not hold her terror back once seeing her just-bought house collapsing in front of her. The widow fell to the cold ground, screamed out desperately. She had worked her best to buy the house and raised her daughter, but God had taken it away from her. Out of her mind, she blamed everything on our great master and wanted him to give her the compensation for ruining her house. A leopard can't change his spots. How her attitude could be changed that dramatically. Just a few moments earlier, she had knelt down and begged Master Jackie badly to save her family from the demon. Seeing the miserable widow were sitting on the ground, Jackie had left the place. Fang followed his steps and had no idea why the house collapsed like that. What was the connection between the demon and the house? That was the very first time he had experienced a strong bond between the host and the spirit. Reading the scene, Jackie explained to Fang that a woman was hanging herself in the house. She didn't satisfy with her life and kept a heavy grudge after then. Her grudge had moistured to the house already, and the house was able to keep standing up over the years because of her grudge. Once the woman's spirit was gone, the house had nothing to sustain. Eventually, it got collapsed. Fang continued to ask Jackie why he kept praying for the spirit but did not acquire her in years. Master Jackie gave Fang a long sigh and exclaimed that was because he needed permission to do that. As everyone could see, defeating the spirit was just a piece of cake, but the house would be ruined afterward. Our master was way too poor to give anyone compensation which cost by a house. The two of them walked to their door while Yan's mother was storming after them. She persistently asked Jackie to make up her house and completely forgot how pathetic she was earlier when begging the master to help. Everyone knew that how poor Master Jackie was. He was working hard to feed 3 people already. At that moment, surely he had not that much money to build Yan's house. With a kind heart, how he could let the 2 mother and daughter outside in the middle of the night. So he had decided to let them stay at his house temporarily. In contrast, Fang was on cloud 9 once hearing that Yan and her mother would stay under the same roof with him. His face got flushed already. Just imagining that Yan was about to stay in his room, he could not hold his happiness. He giggled all the time. It was understandable for a young man. After contemplating, Master Jackie ended up letting Yan and her mother stay in Fang's room. His apprentices were about to move to his room, which bragging Fang back to reality. Sam and Master Jackie slept in the bed while Fang had to lay down on the ground. That was his master's solution. Fang knew that he couldn't change the outcome. No matter what, Yan was sleeping on his bed already, so he happily accepted that. He wanted to urinate badly in the middle of the night, but no matter how hard he tried to find his private jar, he could not find it. Fang shook the sleepy Sam to ask out. The little boy replied drowsily that Jackie had used the jar to trap the demon earlier. Fang at that moment could realize how he found the jar was too familiar to him. The demon had been acquired, but they had really paid off, not only the owner of the house but also Fang. How brutal this life was to him.